Welcome to this module on work simplification techniques. As and when we talk about any functional area in food service operation, starting from receiving, storage, preparation, production, service, or even the disposal areas, we need to see that employees do not exhaust their energy and do the work simplified and do the work in a much efficient and effective way. So, the work simplification techniques refers to the easy ways of doing work in an efficient and effective manner, the same time where employee does not get exhausted and also does at very much easier time. Work in general in any workplace can be simplified from 5 different aspects, namely work area, workers' area of reach, workspace, equipment, material and supplies, and movement at workplace. So when we talk about all this, it may mean that work simplification is much easier at all functional areas of food service, starting from the receiving area where the foods are received, and then when the foods are stored, and then you go to the preparation area where all pre-preparation works are done, and then moving the food ingredients to the production area where actual production happens. And when the food is moved to the service area where we see the different styles of service to which the guests are served, and also at the end of the service we see that the disposal has to be done in the food and beverage department. And at the same time, when we talk about the front of the house operations or the housekeeping department or at any back of the house operations, we could follow this work simplification methods to ease the employees at work so that they do not get exhausted and do the work much efficiently and effectively. And when we look into the objectives of this module, so we can see that the learners, after going through this module, will enable the learners to understand the methods available for work simplification techniques at workplace of a food service operation, maybe the front of the house or the back of the house sections, and also explain the usability of the techniques as a tool for effective management. Now let us see one by one how it is followed in each sections. And first is the work area. This work area refers to the area of the workspace. Suppose it means the height from the floor and location of the equipment and materials to be used for a worker performing a task in a standing position. The height of the work surface from the floor should be just below the waistline so that there is no need to bend at the waist or hip while performing the task at the operations. If the surface is too low, backache and general discomfort will result, and if it is too high, it will cause undue muscular strain and fatigue sometimes. When working in a seated position, unnecessary stretching or straining or the neck muscles should be avoided. For being comfort, feet should always rest flat on the floor so that an erect posture is always maintained by the employees at work. And also there are some average recommended heights in work areas and which are set as standards while the workplaces are built. For example, the height for the work surface is usually 60 centimeters from the bottom of the floor, and the work surface in general can vary from 85 to 100 centimeters. The shelves under the workspace can be little less than the work top, which is 80 to 95 centimeters, and the sink top is usually between 90 and 100 centimeters so as to ease the work equipments to movement from the sink tops to the other working spots. And also when we talk about the bottommost part of the wall units, that is above the worktop, it can reach up to 135 centimeters. And when the highest shelf for general use is planned, it must be only to the maximum of 180 centimeters. And the top of the highest unit can be up to the most of 225 centimeters, which will enable the employees not to stretch further and see that everything is done perfect. Suppose the surface height should also be planned to vary with the nature of the activity. For example, a sink unit top should be higher than that of the food preparation area in order to take into account the need for reaching down to the base of the sink in the former case. Likewise, gas stove or the cooking ranges are fixed Here we should see that it is in the lower level than the work surface, so that when a cooking pan is placed on it, the contents can be seen and stirred well without standing on one's toes, which will have an harassing effect. Considering that the worker may be performing multiple tasks over a long period of time, badly planned work areas will probably result in mental irritability and accidents may happen at the workplace. Well planned work areas not only provide physical comfort but also contribute to a sense of psychological and social well-being within the work environment. Suppose next aspect of the work simplification, if we talk, it is on the worker's area of reach. The body and the reach characteristics of the employee directly influence the designing of the work areas. The area of the work surface is determined very much by the area of reach of the average employee. The area of reach very much signifies the limit to which a person can stretch his or her hands to grasp the material and equipment required for any activity. If the arms of a worker are fully extended outward to form a circle on the work surface, the area within the reach circle is termed as the normal reach. Whereas a worker can reach any object in this area without stretching or moving other parts of the body, it is the most comfortable area and the work zone involving the least amount of energy, and that provides most effective view of all the materials and actions to perform a particular job. And when we talk about the next important aspect of work simplification, it is the space at work. The amount of space available for work is important for completing the task efficiently. The space should be large enough to place all the materials and equipment as required and also allowed for movement of work. In addition, extra space is necessary for placing all the completed parts of work kept aside till it is needed again. For example, in making a salad, a number of vegetables or fruits may be needed to be cut and kept away from the area of normal reach, which would be required for the preparation of the salad dressing later. Finally, all the parts of the salad would have to be put together before being served. And accordingly, the work has to be planned so as to enable the employees do not make more moves from their work spot. Our next heading would be equipment, materials and supplies should also be taken care in the work simplification process. The equipment, materials and supplies all have to be considered in relation to the physical structure of the kitchen, and the persons using them should be very much aware of their placement, suitability, quality and quantity all determine how simple any work can be made. This awareness helps to establish plans that are economical in terms of human effort, time and also other variable resources of the management. Any material, supplies or equipment in regular use should be placed within the maximum reach zone because activities are concentrated in the zone of normal reach. Shelves may be located within these zones for items which are used occasionally. This helps to increase the space within the work area. The normal and maximum reach zones are important in organizing any work center if one remembers that reaching for an item by stretching upward is less strenuous than reaching outwards or downwards. Therefore, it is always to be remembered that the heavier items are better kept on the upper shelves, and the energy used at work greatly depends on the following factors, mainly the location of the equipment, that is where the equipments are placed in the work area. Certain equipment may be better placed within easy reach rather than stored in the cupboards. For example, a blender fixed in a work center requires much less effort to operate when needed than one which has to be removed from a cupboard every time a food item needs to be blended. For example, a manner in which food is stored is also a matter of concern. Equipment may be stored in variety of ways. They may be kept in their boxes after each use depending on frequency with which they are required at the production centers. And also it may be covered with weatherproof covers or left uncovered as the conditions may be. The manner of storing will determine whether a piece of equipment requires cleaning before each or not. In tropic countries, particularly where weather conditions change so often from dusty to rainy to dry and temperatures are conducive to harboring cockroaches, insects and flies, attention in terms of lot of time and energy is required for cleaning purposes too. As far as possible, equipment should be kept ready for use in the normal reach zone along with other ingredients and supplies to complete any task very much efficiently. And a good kitchen plan is one which achieves maximum output from a given set of inputs. This can only be done if people at work area are conscious of the need to reduce time and effort in performing a particular task. In context of kitchen planning, therefore, conserving space, time and energy are also vital concepts to manage the efficiency and profitability of any catering organizations. In addition to all this, movements at work are also a considerations for the employees. One needs to become conscious of how body movements are related to the amount of energy consumed. For this, it is necessary to understand that the body has been designed in such a way that weight is evenly distributed over the legs. When working in any posture, standing or seated, the center of gravity of the body is fully disturbed thoroughly. This causes unequal distribution of weight on the legs, resulting in extra energy consumption to maintain the body position. If the balance is continuously disturbed in any activity, muscles get very much tired and fatigue sets in for all postures at work. Therefore, one must keep the body in physical balance, that is, maintain correct posture to enhance the comfort and also conserve energy at the same time. In addition, the muscles of the body are so arranged that the large muscles occur at those points in the body which are meant to take up maximum strain. With this in mind, the largest muscle in the part of the body moved should be brought into operation whenever an action is performed. This fact is realized when we observe that some jobs are tiring for some people and not for others exactly. This is because some people waste their energy unnecessarily because of wrong postures, and therefore less energy is available for job, which consequently does not get completed as best as possible and in the shortest possible time. To perform work with a tireless rhythm may require a conscious effort, but it is a worthwhile making it till it becomes a habit, the habit of not getting tired at workplace. Designing kitchens is also an important point where all the equipment supplies are all designed. The features to consider on kitchen designing are location of the kitchen especially, and also the structural details, layout, storage and general maintenance of the area even after the building is done. Now, when we look into the location, this refers to the exact position where kitchen is situated in relation to the rest of the other sections of the area. As far as possible, kitchen should be adjacent to the service area, and it is preferably in one corner of a building, suitably in northwest direction. This provides access to two side walls for windows and free access to natural air and lighting. A corner location also makes it accessible by road for purposes of receiving the food supplies and also removal of garbage. The kitchen should be situated over ground to avoid flooding, drainage, backflow, and also unnecessary expenses on artificial lighting and ventilation expenses. In basement areas, usually the humidity and heat of the kitchens also make them prone to dampness and infestation. And when we look into the structural features of the kitchens, these include facilities such as drainage, electricity, gas connections, and water supply systems to the kitchen areas. These are generally provided for before. Ideally, according to the Act clock, the kitchen structure should be built around the equipment and other services. Other features include the design and finish of floors, walls, ceilings, and work surfaces, followed by lighting and ventilation. Last but not the least, the structure must be very much safer and also provide hygienic and sanitary conditions for the persons who work in it. And when we talk about the drainage systems, which is very much essential in large production units like a hotel and restaurant, the efficiency of the drainage system determines the hygiene and sanitation of the kitchen environment to a large extent. The poor drainage further leads to contamination of food with dire consequences. Problems can arise in drainage areas when fat gets collected and also in the drains and flow through them is restricted. All kitchens should therefore be fitted with grease traps on all drainage inlets to prevent backflow or blockage. Taking care of this aspect of drainage during layout planning can prevent unnecessary expenses later in clearing the blocked drains during the course of operation in a catering establishment. Drains should be therefore at least 10 to 15 centimeters in diameter. And next, when we talk about the electricity and gas connections, the electricity and gas points to be provided in a kitchen must coincide with the plan of equipment in the kitchen and also future plans for expansion for use if any. Therefore, once the placement of work centers is established and a list of equipment to be used at each center is formulated, the number of gas and electrical connections required can be very much easily determined. And when we talk about the ceilings, any finish on ceilings should be heat resistant and not affected by steam or gases, as this is the area where we have 24/7 work in a moisty area. A planar paint finish is more suitable through it requires frequent redoing. Gloss paints on ceilings, however, cause condensation and affect the humidity in the kitchen, making conditions of work uncomfortable as also unhygienic. If one can afford them, acoustical ceilings which are soundproof are important in absorbing the kitchen noises. In general, when choosing these finishes for walls, floors and ceilings, it would be always to remember that dark colors reduce the level of illumination and also affect the visibility in the kitchen. It is also a good policy to invest on quality for long-lasting effects. And the work surfaces should be hard wearing, smooth and impervious. Stainless steel is by far the best among the work surfaces in the kitchen, though the initial cost is much higher than that of any other surface finishes. Work surfaces can be covered with laminated plastics, hardwoods or ceramic tiles with certain sections in marble or stainless steel to reduce the cost. Laminated plastics are also quite easy to maintain and is not very costly, but they need to be inspected at regular intervals and replaced if they begin to lift at places. Hardwood work surfaces are a possibility but would need a lacquered finish to be practical in an institutional kitchen where large production is happening. They also get easily stained and marked and are expensive to install and maintain. Now, when we look into the lighting aspects, kitchen lighting should be designed purely to give best illumination and, as far as possible, natural lighting. In addition to overall light fittings need to be placed directly above the work tables and food preparation areas. Sometimes the vapor extractor hoods placed above the cookers and the cooking ranges may interfere the placement of light fittings. Many types of lightings are available for use in institutional kitchens, such as the fluorescent, filament or mercury lamps. The fluorescent lighting is more economical to use than the filament lamps because even though the initial cost is higher, maintenance cost is much lower. The fluorescent lighting lasts almost 6 times higher than the filament lighting and gives 3 to 6 times more illumination for the same electricity consumption. Some fluorescent models available have been illustrated. The color effect of the fluorescent lighting is correlated to the color temperature. High efficiency fluorescent tubes reaching to the temperature of 3000 to 4000 kilojoules do not give particularly good color effects and are not recommended for use in kitchens, dinings and storage areas where color of the food could be marked. Those tubes with lower light output are better for color rendering properties and therefore more suitable in the production areas. And now when we look into the mercury lamps, they may be used in kitchen and are available in lots of ranges from 80 watts to 400 watts capacity. The color, appearance, illumination and life are approximately equal to the fluorescent lamps. Enclosed fittings such as diffuse light provide greater comfort to the eye and can also be easily fixed to false ceilings as well. The seal protects the lamp from moisture and dirt is easier to clean. And looking into the ventilation aspects are equally important as far as compared to the lighting aspects. Ventilation in kitchen is very important to prevent the process of condensation, which is the droplets of moisture that is formed on equipment, food and surfaces, especially in the production units. This condensation leads to formation of mold and bacteria, resulting in the contamination of food later. Good ventilation therefore helps to replace oxygen used by workers during respiration and sets up a current of fresh air which drives our kitchen odors and fumes through suitable outlets provided. It also eliminates excessive heat from the various cooking environment, regulating the temperature and making it more comfortable to work. Therefore, sufficient attention has to be given on good ventilation and lighting in food preparation, service and also other areas of the food service operation. The modes of ventilation in the kitchen are windows, vapor extractor hoods and exhaust fans. While providing this as inlets for fresh air, they also open the kitchen to insects, flies and dust and therefore not total sufficient as means of ventilation. To be useful, windows need to be fitted with fly-proof shutters which only keep out the flies but also prevent draught from affecting the kitchen work. The vapor extracted hoods are generally fitted over equipment and have proved very effective in removing the fumes, vapors and odors from kitchen, and if these hoods are further fitted with grease trap filters, there is a risk of fire through condensation of fat within the hood duct is minimized. A number of models are now available for use in kitchens both in the small and the larger production units. The exhaust fans are fitted near the ceiling of the walls and they are designed to suck out the air from the kitchens, which then gets replaced with fresh air from the inlets placed in positions for this purpose. The area is wire meshed on the outside to make it fly proof. Usually no method of ventilation is used singly, but in combination they are very effective, especially in the large production sections where many employees work together at one time. In small kitchens, the window or ventilator in combination with any other device would be adequate. Whatever be the mode of lighting and ventilation for a production unit at a hotel, the nature of its other structural features is to be kept in mind, such as the bright and cheerful environment is possible. Colors like blue, beige, cream are cool to the eye, and therefore these visibilities and equipment and furniture of the natural colors should be selected for visual comfort. A harmonious environment is stimulating and helps to bring out the best in employees in terms of skill, creativity, and therefore productivity too. As I conclude to this module on work simplification, it is the process of designing the work areas vital to make provision for firefighting equipments and also that exit paths which help in the reference of work areas which can carry a high fire hazard potential, such as especially in the production areas which has electrical danger zones too. In small establishments, it may mean only one fire extinguisher, but nevertheless, the awareness of its need is very much essential. Also, alarm systems need to be incorporated while designing the work spots at the food service. Thus, adopting these work simplification techniques that we have studied so far will ease the employees and at the same time protect the guests, that would in turn create a good image on the hotel property. Hope you learned this module.